Holiday plans for thousands of Queenslanders hoping to reunite with family for Christmas have been thrown yet another curveball. Peter Fegan joins us live from Brisbane. Peter, good morning. What is the latest twist?
Davina, probably better described as a spanner in the works, but it'll only affect Queenslanders wanting to travel interstate to New South Wales or Victoria. I'll give the example. If I want to go and visit family in Sydney this Christmas, when I return, the Queensland government requires you to get a negative test within 72 hours of your return. If I test positive, then I won't be allowed back into Queensland. But the Health Minister here, Yvette D'Arth, explained it quite simply when she said that you'll be under the jurisdiction of whatever state you test positive and you'll have to follow their guidelines. But I will have to return a negative test before I return back to Queensland. I guess the biggest headline that we've had here this week, Davina, has been this PCR test fiasco. Now, originally, if you wanted to come into Queensland when the borders do open, the Queensland government required you to return a negative PCR test, which requires a certificate. Now, that was costing up to $150, so families were simply going to boycott coming here to Queensland. Finally, common sense prevailed. The Premier came out, they quashed it, and just a normal pop-up test will now be suffice. However, the blame game then started. The Premier blamed the feds blamed the Queensland government, our Deputy Premier Stephen Miles blamed the media. Well, today, the Health Minister, Yvette D'Arth, finally came out and apologised.
I'm happy to apologise. There was a lot of confusion around this. We've made it clear there isn't a cost without needing a certificate. We don't require the certificate.
85% on single dose here, Davina, and 74.9% double dose, getting very close to that 80%, meaning that the borders will open. We'll probably reach it by about the 6th of December. And again, no surprises here, Davina, a double donut day here in Queensland.
It just means families get reunited at Christmas, and that's good news. Peter, thank you. Well, the popular Dine and Discover program in New South Wales has been expanded, with everyone getting another $50 to spend on entertainment. 2 vouchers worth $25 each should land in people's New South Wales service accounts from today.
For every $25 Dine and Discover voucher, it sees $41 spent at a restaurant, at a hotel, at an activity across New South Wales. So it's stimulating our economy, creating jobs.
And most of the state's COVID restrictions will ease from December 15. Masks will only have to be worn on public transport, planes, in airports and hospitals. Density limits scrapped. QR check-ins only required at high-risk venues. The state recording 261 new COVID infections. Well, there are concerns a new variant of coronavirus which has emerged from South Africa. The strain has a high number of mutations and is already spreading rapidly in South Africa. Cases there surging from 100 to more than 1,000 per day.
Initially, it looked like, it was just some cluster outbreaks, maybe gatherings and so on. From yesterday, indication came from our scientist colleagues from the network for genomic surveillance, so that indeed they were observing what looked like a new variant.
The UK has added 6 African countries to its travel red list, temporarily stopping flights and forcing travellers from those places into quarantine. With many European nations facing a high number of COVID infections, the European Union is considering a 9-month expiration date on its vaccine certificates. It means tourists planning a trip for next year may need a booster jab. It comes as the EU's drug regulator approves the use of Pfizer for children aged 5 to 11. Well, the traditional Thanksgiving Macy's parade has returned to the streets of New York in style after a COVID-shortened no-crowd version last year. Balloons, floats, marching bands, clowns and naturally one very, very big turkey, there it is, plus Santa, of course, entertaining the crowds in a 4-kilometre route. There were still some COVID-safe measures in place though, with vaccinated parade staff and volunteers mostly wearing masks.